We're going to change things up a bit. So, this is Jon. I've known Jon for a very long period of time. We were having a chat, and he reminded me that we first met when word processors didn't have spell checkers in them. Yeah. And that kind of aged me. So, so Jon Hirschtick is a bit of a legend in our industry. He was the CEO and founder of Solidworks, which obviously kind of went on to dominate the MCAD market. And it kind of was a phase change from Unix boxes running very expensive, so it's very expensive hardware, running very expensive software. Windows came along with the Parasolid kernel and SolidWorks, and it kind of energized the market. And ever since then, we've seen a major move to low-cost platforms. SolidWorks did very well for itself, got sold to Dassault Systems. Jon stayed at Dassault for, I don't know.
14 years.
14 years.
After the acquisition,
yeah.
So almost 20 years total.
So Jon's a sticker, he stays. And then he's founded Onshape, and he's a serial entrepreneur, and he's been in our business, and he knows our business incredibly well because he's on his second time around, and now he's at the company PTC, who acquired Onshape. Ironically, PTC was probably the first company to feel the wrath of SolidWorks when it came out, so now you've gone full circle. But anyway, so we were just chatting, and Jon said, let's do something different, let's have a fireside chat. We don't have a fire, thank God, but we do have a very short throw projector. And we have, oh, can you hear me? We have some slides in the background, and we're just going to have a chat around some of the things that we've had discussions about last week, and things will occur behind us, hopefully in some kind of synchronization with our topic. So, and if I catch it, we might start getting Jon to tell us what's going on, because is there any way to get that comfort monitor to replay that? Sorry. I feel like I might have a mirror or something. I could watch the live stream. So, I'll just do that. So, Jon, welcome to the UK. Thank you for coming over.
Great to be here.
Yeah. The other thing that Jon's very famous for, of course, is his blackjack history, which was made into a film. And is it true you actually got the money from your MIT blackjack to fund SolidWorks, or is that kind of the legend that got printed?
Well, wasn't where we were planning to start, but first of all, let me say that I'm glad to be here. We thought this would be more interesting, and it's already interesting, than just, I could bring a slide deck and tell you all about Onshape. Happy to do that anytime you'd like. We have a booth here, and we have a lot of great things. But we talked, and I thought this might be more interesting for you to have a candid chat. And I'll just open by saying I've been building these tools for over 40 years, and I feel like we're about half done. Not half done with SolidWorks or Onshape, half done as an industry about what we can do to help the users, the product developers that we all serve. And so I'm excited to be still in this journey. Mm-hmm. It's been one journey. It's different companies, but it's one journey. So thanks for having me here, and I'm happy to tell you, we'll be talking about some things going on. I can talk about Onshape. I can talk about other PTC products, Creo. A lot of exciting things happen with Creo, Windchill, Vuforia, ThingWorks, Codebeamer. I can talk about any of those if anyone has any questions about PTC generally. Now, since you want to start with blackjack, I also had this career playing professional blackjack with the MIT blackjack team. And to answer your question is, I would say yes, it's true that I didn't go take company money and gamble it. No. But I was able to take my blackjack winnings and give me the opportunity to take a year off to unfunded to work on SolidWorks. So my ability to get SolidWorks started was because I had previously played blackjack and won some money at it. Because in the early days, nobody believed SolidWorks was a good idea, and certainly nobody would give me any investment to support it. You know, I got turned down by every venture capitalist. They all said, terrible idea, crazy thing, Windows, you know, CAD's a done problem. This is 30 years ago. 29 years ago, by the way.
Yeah, wow.
It's that old. Okay.
I was speaking to Jon last night, and I reminded him that we were in New York at an event having lunch, and he just picked up a spoon and said, "It's really hard to model this." And I asked him if it was the case today, and he said,
Yeah, it's still harder than we'd like it to be. I mean, there's exciting new tools for modeling. In the case of freeform shapes, certainly we've put a lot of new tools out there. There's a great partner we have called Phenometry. They're here. They're in the exhibit hall showing, and they have some really great tools for freeform shapes. In fact, they'd probably do a great job in that spoon example. You got all kinds of exciting modeling tech. We've got, you know, of course, new generative tools and additive tools. Creo's head in that area. Some very exciting tools there. You've got End Topology was here showing on this stage, and our joint customer in Ocado. How many of you saw the Ocado presentation? Really awesome, huh? Isn't that inspiring? I mean, they're a customer, I got it, but even if they weren't a customer, it's really inspiring to see what they're doing with additive, and most of all, what he's doing with process and racing forward. So anyway, my point is there's a lot of ways to describe shape that are a lot better than the day we sat and had the Knish in New York City, but it's not a solved problem. We're not done with modeling, as anyone who uses a modeler will tell you, whether it's Onshape or Creo or SolidWorks or any of them.
So going to a little bit, go back to the cloud. I mean, I do an architectural magazine, I do develop 3D. Every software developer, probably in the last 7 years, has said the cloud's the future. All software will end up on the cloud, and obviously it inspired you because there was a platform change, that a modeling package that was first to the cloud, that was truly a cloud application, would be a game changer. And if you could take me a little vision about what was it about that move to the cloud that made it better than file-based Windows Parasolic CAD?
Okay, so we saw an opportunity to build a true cloud-native system to fully capitalize on the potential of the cloud. Now, you can use cloud in small ways and get small benefit. Nothing wrong with that. You know, people were putting CAD files into Dropbox a decade ago, and it's not a bad thing to do. It's cloud, you know, and all that. But it's a small thing, small benefit. We're shooting for big use of cloud, big benefit. And that's what I think we're doing with cloud native. We think we've taken a unique approach with Onshape. We think we're the only fully cloud native, complete professional CAD system out there. Everyone's using cloud in small ways, small benefit. We use it in big ways, get big benefit out of cloud native. We saw that when we started building Onshape, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. That benefit from cloud native continues to grow as we build out Onshape. And you said modeling, but remember it's also PDM and data management, which is a huge part of what our customers love about us. And to really understand it, you can't just think of it as what do they call it, a hosting or delivery option for an old CAD system. That's not the point. I mean, that's not a bad thing to do. You want to put your old, you can take your old software and put it on a server and stream it. That's not what we're doing. We're rethinking it. And you saw with people like Matt Whelan and thousands of other companies around the world, and all kinds of videos. Again, on our website, I'm not bringing them to show you. We're doing the chat. Next year, if you want me to come with videos and slides, I'll do that. But we're doing the chat this year. So what you'll hear from our customers is how it's a game changer for them process-wise. Okay, that's the most delightful thing we hear, is when a customer like Matt Whalen will say, this changes how my team works. We can have an agile process now because of the benefits of Onshape. So we win on process change. We have enormous benefits in, of course, total cost of ownership. It's a no-brainer. There's so much less admin time involved. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I could provision this whole room with CAD and PDM, and I don't even care what computer you have, or even if you have a computer. If you have an iPad, that's fine. If you have a phone, that's fine. We could do that in less time than this chat has taken and be done with it.
And you'd all have the same version at the same time.
And you all have, you have real-time collaboration isn't a tool or a mode you go into. It's something, it's an idea woven throughout the system. So our users expect that, you heard Matt Whelan mention, anywhere in the world, any team member, real-time collaboration, like you expect if you use something like Google Docs, okay? And so cloud collaboration costs are big. The process, agile process is a big reason people choose us. Collaboration, to the max. And then PDM. PDM is a big one we went on because we're not just an old-style PDM system that you put in the cloud. PDM, which most users don't like very much, there's a reason they don't like it. It involves things like setting up servers, copying files. You can copy files to and from the cloud. You're still copying files. Locking, checkout. Yeah, I never had a customer say, what do customers want to achieve? They want to achieve speed and innovation, right? You ever have a customer say to you, a user say, oh, that file locking, that really helped us move faster. Or we were more innovative because we checked things out, said nobody ever, okay? It's a pain in the butt. People don't use it. They're overriding each other's changes. I'm here because I heard that kind of stuff from thousands of users in my career. And I said, let's try and fix it. So cloud native gives us an opportunity to fix these problems. So the winning points, and again, some people just want cloud native. Young people coming up in particular, that's what they want. So cloud native costs, collaboration, PDM, process change, agile process, those are the things that are happening.
Because I'm old, I'm going to mention that there was a product.
Not as old as me.
No, but there was a product called, there was a company called ImpactSoft, which had a product called the Toyota Calum, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually, this is decades ago, which allowed simultaneous modeling on the same model. It was totally out there. There's a guy called Attilio Grimaldi, who's no longer with us, I think.
Well, there's a lot of old, CAD is an industry with a lot of old ideas.
So this is pre-Windows, the idea of collaborative engineering and collaborative modeling has been with software designers for a while, but it wasn't possible to properly deliver it until you had centralized, proper centralized and ubiquitous web.
Yeah, you have to have the things coming together, cloud, web, and mobile technology. We say cloud, but it's really cloud, web, and mobile technology that are the raw materials that we built Onshape from. It's kind of like what happened, look at 3D. I mean, Creo, then called Pro Engineer, was the first 3D modeler that really got the concept to work for engineers. There were tons of 3D products before Pro Engineer. I mean, there were many, many 3D products. They didn't quite bring it together in a way that really worked, but the ideas were there. Parametrics was an idea, features were an idea, solids were an idea, assemblies were an idea. They brought it together. I feel that's what we've done. There's a lot of ideas that people wanted for a long time in collaboration, and even in some of our CAD modeling as well, that we are able to realize now.
So looking at the market, you kind of, obviously there were a number of cloud plays, and I know that
they're all cloud plays now. So everyone's doing things with cloud.
But it didn't really remove, so before, Solidworks undermined the incumbents, the people who were there selling before. When cloud kind of came out, it seemed to come along as a side seat, or maybe it was like a different, as you're saying, it's a different way of working. So it didn't really kill the old market. The old market still exists, but there's this new cloud thing in town. And so is it, from your vision from creating Onshape when you did, to now when it's part of PTC's huge armory of products, how do you see cloud applications playing in this kind of mix of desktop, cloud, files, and sort of data lakes?
So it's not really a question of, no one's trying to kill anything. And I mean, SolidWorks, for all our success, we certainly didn't kill all the other CAD systems out there. There seemed to be, other ones that were doing pretty well too. Took a big part of the market. And so, we're the fastest growing system, I think, in the industry, as acknowledged by engineering.com. You can listen to our financial results from PTC, which, by the way, is doing really well these days if you look at really across the board. But we're not going to wipe out the market overnight. You'll see a lot of approaches to using cloud in incremental ways. There's a lot of tools out there, but we're becoming a choice for a certain segment of the market. You heard Matt, if you're collaboration first, if you're cloud first, if you're looking for the it's just pure speed of deployment and everything, you don't want to hassle with hardware and thinking about even special workstations and whatnot. And again, our approach to PDM, those things, and support for agile process, if those things are top of mind for you, then we're going to be the choice, and quite a few companies are choosing us. And in education, by the way, they've chosen us much faster. That world, the shoe's on the other foot. If you were having a panel there, people would assume everything is cloud native. You'd have to explain that it's not. If you talk to young people, this is one of the few conferences where we're having this kind of conversation. I don't know if anyone's talked to anyone, I hate to talk about age, but younger, you have any kids in school or whatever. Yeah, they don't know what files and folders are, okay? I don't know if you can believe that, but they don't know what C:\\/ is. They've never used it. I was talking to Aldine about this.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said, you look at people, they have one, they don't even think of it as a directory. They don't arrange files and folders and things.
I have something similar. It's an old mother. She doesn't know how to use files and folders.
So in education, that world has gone all, if schools provide computers, okay, talk about the world of education for a moment. It's a different world. Anyone have kids in school? I had 6. I have 1 left in high school.
Wow.
Okay, you have kids in school. If the school district gives them a computer, sometimes schools give a computing device, I guarantee you it's either an iPad or a Chromebook. 100%. Anyone know a school that's giving out computers that aren't an iPad or Chromebook? No. So if a school wants to teach CAD as part of their STEM program, and they need a system that allows authoring on an iPad or a Chromebook, there's only one system they can choose. It's us. Now, you may think that that's weird, but that's millions of people that way. Or the school says, hey, we're not providing a computer, run on whatever you have at home. Well, then you get into a much, then we're also really the only choice you could expect people to go home with dog's breakfast of different computers that you'll run into in people's homes. There might be old Windows machines, MacBooks, whatever, Linux machines, of course, Chromebooks, iPads, Android tablets, anything. So the education world is going massively in that direction. They also love the collaboration, and we've taken the collaboration and enterprise tools that we built for our large enterprise customers, and we've repurposed them into an education edition that lets schools run thousands of students at once using their Google Classroom sign-ons. I didn't really prepare to talk education. Anyone interested in the education side of things? Okay, a couple hands going up. I don't want to bore you with it, but it's a pretty cool part of the world. It's good for our business, but it's really good for the world because we're helping teachers deploy CAD and PDM at scale, by the 1,000. And so we've taken tools like we have a customer has over 1,000 active monthly users now. One customer, commercial company, build tools for them. We have, larger, more complex installations. We repurposed it for the school market because schools want to sign up people by the thousands. We've signed up, I think I'd safely say it's well over 1 million students and teachers since COVID started, since I saw you in person last, not including anything before COVID, just since COVID, and we were doing pretty well before then. So
to drag you back to the development of Onshape, so when I was looking at what you had VC money and you were fighting against all the existing companies, and I described it as you were climbing the north face of the Eiger because you're competing against mature CAD products that had all these features and that brought all these.
Talking about struggling against other companies, we think about struggling against the customer's needs. That's it. What we're concerned about is the user. I mean, I'm really not in a struggle with other companies. I'm looking at our customer and what we need. I'm looking at Matt Whalen a lot more than I'm looking at my competitors. I'm looking at.
But as a journalist, I could see Autodesk could go out and drop a few million on HSM Works. and stick it in Fusion. And that was something that a small company couldn't really do. But now
Oh, yeah.
you're part of PTC.
Yeah, so PTC...
So
yeah.
that's kind of like, hello, here's a trunk of goodies. So since you've been in PTC, what technologies have you been able to...
Oh, yeah, great point, Martin. So being at PTC, it's 3 years now. 3 years today, actually. I got to know since we became part of PTC. Yeah, it has been, we've upped our investment level, and we're able to use technology from the PTC portfolio. So we now have tech in Onshape, or coming soon, publicly known anyway, I can talk about, from 5 acquisitions that PTC's made.
Okay.
And that would be Frustrum, which they made before we were acquired. So we're able to use that. There's some of that in today's shipping Onshape, and we'll have more of that coming. Arena, PLM system, was acquired by PTC. So we have a really nice integration with Arena. A lot of customers like that. It's made it insanely easy. If you've ever tried to link up CAD, PDM, and PLM, and get that all running and globally deployed. Yeah, it's so easy with us. You can, again, stop by our booth. We'll do it live in front of you in a few moments. Just the cloud benefits, again, like I said, cloud native benefits accrue exponentially when you deal with multiple systems, okay? So Frustrum, Arena, we have a rendering product, MyGenius, which PTC acquired just for use in Onshape. So far, just in Onshape. It may show up in other products. We have PCB Studio, which is based on ECAD, MCAD, a startup. Rob Lacey, who's here. Is Rob in the audience? Yeah, our old friend Rob, who is, I would say, one of the world experts, if not the expert, on ECAD, MCAD integration, author of CircuitWorks. PTC acquired Rob's company. That's now delivered to our Onshape customers. And then our most recent acquisition, Cloud Milling, a CAM system here in the UK. Incredibly capable and pure cloud native. And so
you told me last night that last year was the biggest year for feature updates.
Biggest year ever for Onshape, the product, and we managed to execute on 2 fronts, I'll say. One is the breadth of the product, most of the things I just talked about, these brand new areas that we've added function in. And then also the depth, our rate of delivery of modeling and drafting and performance improvements. We've always been pretty fast evolving. We generally release every 3 weeks with an update. But this past year, we significantly expanded the rate. We have a much larger R&D team as part of PTC. Generally, the team has grown by almost 3x that works on Onshape since the acquisition. And we're able to use a lot of great PTC technology. I also want to say we've also contributed technology to PTC. If you've heard about PTC's Atlas platform and products, the Plus products.
No. But let's say nobody said about this.
So PTC's has a cloud platform called Atlas that's being used today to power. Onshape has contributed technology to that. And it's been deployed in products like Vuforia, our AR product, which uses some version control, which will be familiar to the Onshape user. It's deployed in Creo Generative Design Extension, Creo GDX. Anyone familiar with Creo's Generative Design? There's a cloud-powered portion of that for doing design space exploration. That's actually powered by Atlas technology, came from Onshape. And there's upcoming, these Plus products from PTC are going to be this cloud SaaS driven products.
We've had Windchill Plus.
Windchill Plus is out. Creo Plus is coming. I don't think it's announced, but talked about. It's a
what is it?
Well, it's taking Creo and delivering benefits to the Creo user from cloud technology. Like I said, will it have all the cloud native aspects of Onshape? No. Just like will we have all the functionality of Creo and all the digital thread integration with Creo? No. But they're adding a lot of value for the Creo user as part of Creo Plus, and some of that comes from Onshape technology and
so at this
the
point,
Atlas platform.
Could you define the difference for PTC in having 2 allegedly competing products where you've got a cloud-based parametric modeler and then you've got a desktop, mature desktop modeler where one's got the Granite kernel and you've got the Parasolic kernel? you're cheaper, they're expensive in terms of enterprise kind of costings. So how does PTC see Onshape in its offerings?
Well, I think we're mirroring what we see in customers and what they want, and so it depends what's most important for a customer. And we think we're going to. By the way, these product lines are going to stay, and they're going to stay independent products. We're not trying to merge them together or something like that. I think that it depends what's top of mind for the customer. If what's top of mind for the customer is, cloud native, agile, collaboration first, lowest TCO, and our new generation approach to PDM. I mean, a lot of customers gravitate to that for us. If you want the Creo always have functional areas and power that we don't have in Onshape. They have, of course, the ongoing compatibility and commitment to the on-prem Creo. Just the compatibility of the world of Creo, the users and data format, the digital thread capability to be, if your top of mind concern is IoT, AR, Windchill integration, Creo is going to continue to be a great choice. So it's pretty self-selective. There's very few customers that are noodling over Creo or Onshape. They pretty much have separate lanes.
Here's a horrible question for you. Is there any advantage to file-based anything?
Oh yeah, well there are advantages, and file-based is going to be around a long time.
But the
advantages, first of all, it's comforting. It's what people know and have, and there's a big thing there. There's a tremendous infrastructure built around files. We're not going to eliminate them, and we work with files coming in and out all the time. It's necessary to do that. So there are advantages in that. There's a lot of legacy advantages, and it's comforting. A lot of people, they emulate paper workflows, which can be very comforting for people. That's one of the reasons. If you think about it, what's the icon for a file in your system? It's a piece of paper with the corner. What's the icon for a directory, a folder? It's called a folder because of a paper file folder. The icon for email is an envelope, right? Gmail, it's an envelope. These are all paper, so it's comfortable because we have physical analogs to paper. But you heard from Matt Whalen, who's sitting over there. He said, I noticed in his tool set he didn't show email. He showed Slack. There is no paper equivalent of Slack. I mean, you can't. If those of you who use Slack or Teams, you can't really model that in a paper world. Email you can model. Well, I'll copy this message and forward it. That's what we used to do on paper. Anyone remember that? I used to do that. Forward to. I had one great story. A teenage kid of mine, really accomplished, succeeding in life, about 15, 16 years old. They're much older now. But I said, we had a discussion. He said, I got an email about that, and I said, okay, why don't you forward that to your teacher and say, or the other teacher and say this, and he's like, okay, and he's kind of like, what do you mean by forward? He's like, how do I do that? And I realized this is a highly functional kid who could write a term paper on his phone and thinks nothing of global collaboration video gaming every day, but he didn't understand it. He's like, I never done this shit, what's going on? So like email is today, the young generation thinks of email the way I think of paper mail. Have you noticed that? It's like, oh, that's only for stuff I don't need to do right away, right? Anyone disagree on any of these things? Raise your hand and say, John, you're full of shit. He'll say it, but you can say it too. No one's saying, oh, he's wrong. Email is kind of too slow for most things. I mean, basically, I'm looking at Matt and thinking, I'm assuming if you can get something done by Slack, you get it done on Slack, and email is like a backstop, right? That's the way it is on our team.
But the bad thing about that kind of communication is that we were working on this show, and I was getting Slack messages and Apple messages and LinkedIn messages and emails, and I'm being flooded, and it's the same people, but it's just whatever they're in is what they're contacting me on, and Slack for some reason decides it.
That's a great point. Is system multiplication, and that's part of the new world too. Is you're using generally more tools, and that can be confusing, disorienting, but it's worth it if you want to change your process. Like if the goal of that, I keep saying that because he delivered such a delightful presentation this morning, but you can look at a lot of customers, if their goal is to unify one system, that runs up against the runs up against the idea of innovating and pushing forward. So there's no easy answers for you or customers. You're thinking, well, how do I change systems? I don't have an easy answer for you. I can just say that if you have an area of your company where there's a better tool and a better process is possible, it might be worth introducing another tool to deal with that, whether it's Onshape for part of your product design and CAD and PDM, or whether that's Slack or Miro or Asana or Jira or Zendesk or all these different tools that are out there.
But going back to talking about cloud versus file-based and pros and cons, the one thing is that I think users have kind of been, the business models of the software companies has moved to subscription. The mentality of customers has had to go along with it because that's where their tools are, and sometimes they're dragged there, and sometimes they feel like they're, not that I'm saying that your company did this in any way, but they feel like they're not going to get value for it. The worry is that data is that they don't have that use of that reassuring paper on their desktop. Irrespective of me paying a software company some money, I still have my file, which I can maybe find something that will open it, or something which will. The issue I think that people are scared of with cloud is once you stop paying, you stop having access to your data. And what do you do about? I'm sure you've got a solution for that.
Well, no, I mean, first of all, the fact is that to access any of the tools today, you generally, if you're running a pro-level business, you generally need to get recent updates. The idea of sticking with the old copy of software, if for no other reason than security. And if any of you are using 5-year-old versions of any of your apps, please upgrade them because you've got security problems. First of all, you got security problems anyway on desktop and installed software that we're chuckling about, but they're no joke. And it's easy for me to say. So the security issues of laptops with files on them and installed software, as any of you takes security seriously, and I wish more manufacturing companies did take it more seriously. There's a huge security issue there. But anyway, so you need to upgrade anyway. So you're going to need recent.
You dropped it. Talking about security.
You're gonna need recent versions of your software for security. And then in terms of subscription and data access, oops.
You got it.
Okay. There we go. In terms of data access, I don't know of any cloud system that denies you access to your data. You might not be able to use the application. Like with us, if you're an Onshape customer and you stop paying subscription, your data's all there. You can view it. You can download it. You can't edit it anymore. I don't know of any subscription company that takes away your data. They will take away the right to use the tool to work with it, but not your data. I just don't know of that. Now, it may exist. I just don't know of any tool like that. With respect to the other companies here, I don't make a habit of looking at their policies too much. From what I hear, though, I don't think anyone takes away your data, whether it's stored in cloud or elsewhere.
The EULAs for cloud software are quite interesting because they are so disparate in what they have access
well,
to.
the EULAs for everything are interesting. End user license agreements.
EULAs. So one of the things that you showed me last night were some of the videos to do with simulation-based design.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can get one of those up and we can go a bit deeper into that.
Yeah, so great. So, all right, we'll start with Onshape, and I have some Creo as well. So this is our new Onshape simulation, and you've all seen simulation before, but what's interesting is we're moving it closer to the point of design and making it enormously easier for people to use. So this is running, first of all, like everything in Onshape, it's running a web browser, nothing installed. If you want to see this running your own computer, bring it to our booth, open the lid, and open a web browser, and we'll show this to you on your computer, not ours. There's no installs or downloads or anything. It runs right in the assembly window. So this simulation is running in the assembly modeler. It's not a separate mode or tool. It uses all the assembly information you already built, say mating relationships. Those inform the simulation. There's no more reproducing load cases. If you've made an assembly mate that specifies a mating condition, And if you've ever sat in a simulation code and rebuilt it as a simulation, you don't do that in here. It uses the assembly mating information. It works on assemblies, first of all, because most simulations have assembly aspects to it. And there's no need to deal with meshing, mesh failures, defeaturing models, that's all gone. And then we use the power of the cloud we use cloud compute to power it in an interactive way. So it's not, some of the other tools use cloud as a batch job, like we did with punch cards, remember that? And, you say, oh, there's a queue of jobs and everything. We don't do it that way. We just serve it up streaming into your, not streaming as an app, but the compute happens in the cloud, but you're seeing the results interactively. It's almost like almost like a rendering mode, in a sense. In fact, you can even do things like get an exploded view of your assembly and the simulation results stay there. So we think we've made it much more accessible for people and taken a lot of the worry away about setting it up and in jobs and things like that and all the prep and so forth. Also, think about the multiplicative effect of this being part of the collaboration and PDM fabric of Onshape. So this all gets PDM'd, if you will, automatically. If you release this document with the simulation gets released. If you're shared the document previously with somebody, your colleague can jump in and see this, just like you're seeing it, without any additional work. So we think this is kind of a game changer in terms of bringing it in. We also have simulation in Creo. We really have a whole approach in Creo of simulation-driven design. Goes beyond. They've used the Creo Simulation Live goes to having real-time simulation. If you've seen that, it's very nice. Also, they have more simulation capabilities than we have in the Onshape offering, and so we get that in. We're really seeing a lot of exciting things happening in simulation.
Integration with ANSYS.
Yeah, and a great integration with ANSYS.
And does that work? Was that an Onshape thing that can happen as well? Or?
Not yet. Well, we can integrate, of course, with ANSYS Desktop, but we're sure hoping. ANSYS acquired, publicly known, they acquired a cloud-native company, and fingers crossed, we'll see great cloud-native things coming from them. This is the Creo simulation modal analysis demo inside of Creo.
So, one of the important things in this industry is not just the platforms, but also the developers and the people who plug in and add extra capabilities. So, how do you go about writing a plugin for Onshape as opposed to writing it for a desktop app? I mean,
okay. A great question. How do you write plugins? So we have APIs. They're REST APIs, if you know what that means. If you don't, I'll just say it's different in the cloud world than in normal programming. And although today people would consider the cloud world to be normal programming, so it's different in the installed world as compared to normal programming, I should say. Like again, we're shifting. By the way, I started this journey and people would say to me, cloud native CAD and PDM, how would that work? How would that be powerful enough? What about security? I think 5 years from now, people are going to say, you're going to say, well, I install it on my own system. I say, how does that work? You run that on one computer, even the most powerful computer. How would that work? How would that be fast enough? What about security? I think that the world's going to flip. But anyway, back to your question. We have API, and application developers write cloud native apps. Like you'll see Phi in our exhibiting here, the surfacing tool that I mentioned, fantastic tool. You see what we've done with the Arena connection, our connection with other PLM products.
We can talk about Arena in a minute, but
yeah.
I mean, Matt, you showed the end topology as it's center phase, but
so end topology. Matt developed a very wonderful approach to doing that. I don't know if I should. I'd let Matt talk about that, not me, but it's very cool. I wouldn't say anything more about it. Okay. The approach we use anyway. There's an API, and you can write web apps, and you can also write desktop apps that call our REST API. So we have a number of desktop applications, both commercially available and customer-written applications. There are a lot of customer-written applications that use Onshape API. In fact, one of the interesting things is how many applications can be used at once. How many people use applications third-party apps in their CAD system. Who thinks they have the largest number installed, and they're installed, SolidWorks or whatever? How many use? 3, 4, 5 maybe? I saw a customer present at our event. Matt was there. One of our customers presented. They brought up their screen really casually, just showing it. And on the right side where the apps show up, they had about 15 applications stacked up there. I'm like, those things don't happen in the install world because it gets too brittle. Well, by the time you get to the 5th or 6th, well, one's out of date and the wrong version. I don't know, some weird thing happened. You don't have that happening, so you can really get to elaborate tool sets there. So yeah, we have a great way to create applications.
The one thing to wrap this up, I mean, the Arena, we have a video of the Arena.
Yeah, we can show you the Arena. That's pretty exciting. That also illustrates the app connection, although I think this video is mostly, there's Arena, you'll see a little bit connecting. I mean, a lot of this demo isn't visual and exciting. It's not throwing
PLM.
Around.
PLM is so exciting.
Not as exciting. But PLM, this is Arena. It's cloud native PLM. I believe it's the market leader in cloud native PLM. Doesn't do everything Windchill does, but Windchill and Arena are both going to exist, a long time, forever into the future. And so Arena PLM, great system, used a lot in fast-moving, agile kind of companies. We link with Onshape with really a few clicks in a dialog box, and you've linked the systems together. Mainly it's a security thing to make sure security protocols are followed. And then you're able to pull part numbers out of Arena. If you want your part numbers in Onshape to come from Arena, you can pull part numbers out. You can do metadata mapping, field mapping in a very easy way in a graphics setup, and you're done. And your Onshape and Arena are linked. You can view Onshape models right in Arena, because again, cloud native, nothing to install. I think we've seen the most interesting parts of the video there, so I'll ask my colleague. It gets in, there's more and more here, but what's going on is it's a real design scenario here. But Onshape metadata linked to Arena metadata fields and part number activity. So really what's happening is APIs are being called. The fact that Onshape and Arena come from the same company, most of what we're doing together could be done through our API on both sides. Arena can integrate with other systems, Onshape integrates with other systems, but that shows the power of the integration. But you do get a really great experience if you use Onshape and Arena together. And we can show you that in the booth.
But really, again, PLM is a mature market where it's competing against Windchill and Teamcenter. And is it a different thing, or is
I would say Arena. It's not exactly a mature market. It's an old market.
Yeah, okay,
just like us, you can be old but not mature.
Okay. Okay.
So, but it's an old market with lots of players. But if you look at what the growth rates in PLM, most companies that could use PLM don't. I think if you talk to my colleagues at Arena, they would say that they're really competing against people who don't have PLM, who are moving to it, as opposed to competing against Windchill. Yeah, they compete against Teamcenter, Windchill, but I think if you go to the Teamcenter people, they're not going to say, hey, Arena is our #1 competitor. Arena's out there bringing a lot of companies into PLM that never had PLM, that needed it. So PLM is a lot of greenfield market opportunity there. It's not really as mature a market as you'd think. And if you look at the growth rates on Windchill, they're really very strong. Again, I refer you to our public earnings announcements as a public company, which I'm certainly not representing here. But I'm not talking, if you look at prior announcements that have been made publicly about the financial results of Windchill, you'll see pretty surprisingly strong growth rates for, again, what some might think is mature. So there's a lot of action in PLM, a lot of action in PDM. I'm really surprised at how many customers will emphasize the PDM benefit as one of the things they love best about us, is our new generation approach to it.
So final question is, okay, you're in PTC, you've got, your numbers are growing. What's next? What is going to be, can you give us a little bit of an insight in terms of the absolute ultimate version of Onshape that we're going to see?
The ultimate version of Onshape. Gosh, well, we're expanding. I think we've got a lot of work to do on a lot more that we can do in all the areas I mentioned here, really. Like I said, at the beginning I said I've been at it a long time, and we're not done with any of the aspects I've mentioned. Our customers will tell you that. We know that. And so I think our platform has allowed us to move faster with releases and velocity of feature releases, which is nice, and we want to continue that in the future. And so I think you'll see a lot more in depth. In breadth, we cover a lot of functional areas now.
Yeah.
Now with all the announcements we've made in the last year, as I've mentioned, CAM, rendering, PCB, simulation, PLM integration, and generative on the way, although we work with generative partners today, just great, as you saw earlier. So we've got a lot of things to improve in the scope of what we're talking about. I think there's a lot more we can do still with collaboration, data management. Also, we're very excited about new computing devices like augmented reality aspects. We're really excited about things we're seeing come out in these devices, tablets and phones. LiDAR scanning is used. We use it now in two ways. We have scanning support for scanning objects in your mobile Onshape app. By the way, Onshape on mobile is a full-function CAD modeler on tablets, phones, iPad, Android. In case you don't know that, a lot of customers really like that. And in addition to the scanning in, our mobile app has AR viewing, which uses the LiDAR scanning. We'll scan the room. We'll place an object in your AR view on your iPhone, or we have a video of that. Oh, thank you. My colleague Steve put up the video. So this is Onshape. On the right, you see an iPad and AR view. You see there's a real video, and the digital object is placed on a tabletop. And what's interesting, if you roll that again, is you'll see not only is it's not a viewer on the right, it's the full Onshape application. The person on the iPad can be doing modeling. In this case, you'll see that they make a change to the assembly on the left side in the browser users making a change to the assembly. And it shows up on the right side in the AR view. The AR view isn't a viewer of a static version of the model. It's a live view. You could design and keep the AR view up while you're designing and modeling, and I expect people to do that. The other thing to point out is this kind of collaboration, those devices are shown side by side, but it worked the same way if they were around the world, okay, in real time. Okay, that's Onshape. That just happens. It's not a mode or anything you go into.
One of the things Jon said last night is that so if you wanted to work with multiple windows, you could literally have the model with 10 different screens with 10 different views of the same model. You called it team working with.
Some of our team calls it collaborating with yourself.
So you can end up modeling in one screen and just see all the updates automatically in all the different views, which sounds kind of cool.
It's not even, by the way, it's not even an unusual mode. I'm looking at, like if you walk around, people use Onshape, they do that all the time. And the other thing you see that's kind of interesting is no one thinks anymore about whether the computer's going to be busy. like no one's afraid to run like you can do simulation and modeling at the same time. Ooh, and rendering. You can do photorealistic rendering, runs right in the browser, and your fan doesn't turn on, and it's not causing any angst. It's really remarkable what happens when, like I say, the thing is, cloud native isn't just a way to host your other application. It enables us to deliver a new way of working.
But there is still a limit to performance in terms of you can have a model that's so large that it's still...
Oh, yeah. We still, we have performance, we have performance limits like everyone that we're always working on, but those yield to work. We work and we make it faster all the time, and we have, you get to the problems of CAD performance. No one has, that I know of, has thoroughly fixed them, and every time we make it faster, you all design bigger things with it. And so that's going to keep going on for a while.
Okay, Jon, thank you very much. It's great to chat.
Thank you, Martyn. It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy that.